The cargo ship Resilience drifted through the asteroid belt like a sleeping giant. Captain Sarah Chen watched the stars through the bridge viewport, her coffee growing cold in the zero-gravity mug. 3 years of hauling mining equipment between Mars and the outer colonies had made this route feel like home. The crew of 12 humans had become her family, each one hand-picked for their skills and loyalty. "Captain, we've got company," called out Navigator Tom Rodriguez from his station. His voice carried a note of concern that made Sarah's stomach tighten. 3 ships, unknown configuration, approaching fast from Sector 7. Sarah moved to the tactical display, her magnetic boots clicking against the metal deck. The holographic screen showed 3 sleek vessels closing in on their position. They were unlike anything in the human ship registry. Too angular, too alien. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, giving them a predatory appearance. "Hail them," Sarah ordered, though something deep in her gut told her this wouldn't end well. Standard first contact protocol. Communications Officer Lisa Park's fingers danced across her console. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, Captain. Universal peace greeting, trade inquiry, and identification request." She paused, listening to her earpiece. "No response, ma'am." The alien ships continued their approach, their formation too precise to be accidental. Sarah had served in the Colonial Defense Force before going civilian. She recognized hunting patterns when she saw them. "Red alert," she called out. "All hands to stations. Seal the bulkheads." The bridge bathed in crimson light as alarms echoed through the corridors. Sarah heard the crew responding, her people trained and ready despite being civilians. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb's voice crackled through the intercom from the engine room, confirming reactor status. Security Chief James Morrison checked in from the weapons locker. Though their defensive capabilities were limited to mining lasers and a few outdated pulse rifles. "They're powering weapons," Tom announced, his voice steady despite the circumstances. "Energy signatures are off the charts." Sarah gripped the command chair's armrest. The Resilience was a cargo hauler, not a warship. Their shields could handle micrometeorites and radiation, but not military-grade weapons. She thought of her crew, good people who'd trusted her to keep them safe. Geologist Dr. Amanda Foster was probably securing her precious rock samples. The kitchen crew would be following emergency protocols. They all depended on her. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies. Channel open, Captain." Sarah took a deep breath. "Unknown vessels, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the cargo ship Resilience, operating under Earth Colonial Authority Charter 77 Alpha. We are on a peaceful commercial mission. Please state your intentions and identify yourselves." Silence stretched across space like a held breath. Then the aliens attacked. The first energy beam struck their starboard hull with devastating force. The ship shuddered violently, throwing crew members against bulkheads. Emergency lights flickered as power conduits overloaded. Sarah felt the deck plates vibrate beneath her feet as the hull integrity alarms screamed their warnings. "Hull breach in Cargo Bay 3. Morrison's voice cut through the chaos. "Sealing emergency doors now." Another blast hammered their port side. The bridge consoles sparked and smoke began filling the air. Through the viewport, Sarah watched one of the alien ships glide past, its weapons charging for another strike. The creature piloting it was visible through a transparent section. Tall, insectoid, with multiple arms manipulating controls with cold efficiency. "They're toying with us," Tom said grimly, reading the tactical display. "Those hits were precise. They're disabling our systems piece by piece." Sarah understood immediately. This wasn't a quick kill. The aliens wanted them alive. The realization sent ice through her veins. "Dr. Foster, report." Sarah called through the intercom. "Geological samples are secure, Captain," came the shaky reply. "But they're scanning us. Deep scans going through our databases. The aliens were harvesting information." Sarah had heard rumors in the outer colonies. Ships disappearing, crews never found, but valuable cargo and data mysteriously vanishing. Pirates, everyone assumed, but this was something worse. "Captain," Lisa's voice was tight with fear. "I'm detecting transmission bursts from the alien ships. They're uploading our navigation charts, crew records, everything." Sarah's mind raced. The Resilience carried more than mining equipment. They had survey data from 3 systems, trade route information, and detailed maps of human settlements. In the wrong hands, that information could doom thousands of innocent people. "Marcus, can we jump?" she asked. "Negative, Captain. They fried our jump drive with the first hit. It was surgical. They knew exactly where to strike." The third alien ship moved into position directly ahead of them, Sarah watched its weapons array track toward the bridge, but instead of firing, it projected a holographic message. The insectoid creature appeared on their main screen, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the bridge lights. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled with the clicking, chittering language. Human vessel, you will surrender your crew for processing. Your ship and cargo will be claimed. Resistance will result in extended suffering before inevitable compliance. The transmission cut off. Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew. Tom's jaw was set with determination. Lisa's hands trembled slightly, but she remained at her post. Through the intercom, she could hear Morrison distributing weapons and Dr. Foster's steady voice calming the younger crew members. "Captain?" Tom asked quietly. "Orders?" Sarah thought about her daughter back on Mars, about the crew members who'd followed her into the black of space, about the thousands of colonists whose locations were now stored in alien databases. She thought about what surrender would mean, not just for them, but for every human the aliens would hunt down using their stolen information. She straightened in her command chair. "Attention all hands," she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the ship. "This is Captain Chen. We've been attacked by hostile aliens who want to take us alive and steal our data to use against other human settlements. Surrender is not an option." She paused, letting that sink in. "We're going to fight. We're going to make them remember this day, and we're going to make damn sure they regret picking a fight with humans." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of damaged systems. Then Tom smiled grimly and began plotting attack vectors. Lisa's trembling stopped as she focused on her instruments. Throughout the ship, Sarah heard the sounds of her crew preparing for war. The aliens had made a fatal mistake. They thought humans would break easily. They were about to learn otherwise. The first rule of survival that Captain Chen learned in the Colonial Defense Force was simple. When facing superior firepower, change the rules of engagement. As the alien ships circled the Resilience like predators savoring their prey, Sarah's mind raced through possibilities. "Marcus, what's our power situation?" She called down to engineering. "Main reactor at 60%, backup systems online. The mining lasers are operational, but Captain..." Marcus's voice carried doubt. "These aren't exactly military weapons." "No, but they'll cut through asteroid rock." "What else will they cut through?" Sarah's voice carried a dangerous edge. Chief Morrison's voice crackled through the comm. "Captain, I've distributed pulse rifles to everyone who can hold one. We've also got the emergency charges from the mining equipment." Sarah's eyes lit up. Mining charges were designed to split asteroids, controlled explosions that could crack rock formations. In space, with the right modifications, they could become something much more dangerous. "Tom, plot me a course toward that asteroid cluster at bearing 27 Mark IV. Best speed we can manage." Navigator Rodriguez looked at her with surprise. "Captain, that'll put us in a debris field. If we lose maneuvering power, then we improvise." Sarah turned to the engineering station. "Marcus, I need you to rig the mining charges with remote detonators." "Can you do it?" "Give me 10 minutes, Captain." "But what are you planning?" Before Sarah could answer, the lead alien ship opened fire again. This time, the blast struck their communications array, sending sparks cascading across the bridge. Lisa yelped as her console overloaded but quickly switched to backup systems. "They're hurting us," Tom observed, watching the tactical display. "Every shot is designed to limit our options." Sarah nodded grimly. The aliens were experienced hunters. They knew how to trap prey, but they didn't know humans. "All hands, this is the captain. We're going into the asteroid field. Seal your stations and prepare for some rough flying." The Resilience limped toward the floating rocks, her damaged engines leaving a trail of plasma exhaust. The alien ships followed, maintaining their formation. Sarah could see them clearly now through the viewport. Sleek, organic-looking vessels that seemed to flow through space rather than fly through it. Dr. Amanda Foster's voice came through the intercom from the geology lab. "Captain, I've been analyzing the scans of those ships. Their hull composition is fascinating. It's some kind of biometallic compound. Dense, but it might have weaknesses." "What kind of weaknesses?" "Resonance fractures. If you could hit them with the right frequency vibrations, their hulls might shatter like crystal." Sarah felt a spark of hope. "Can our mining equipment generate those frequencies?" "The deep-bore resonators could, but you'd need to get close. Really close." The ship shuddered as they entered the asteroid field. Tom's hands flew across his controls, threading the Resilience between floating mountains of rock and ice. The alien ships followed with inhuman precision, their movements too smooth, too perfect. Marcus, report on those charges. Ready, Captain. I've rigged 12 mining charges with remote detonators. What's the plan? Sarah's plan was insane, but insanity might be their only chance. We're going to mine some aliens. She keyed the shipwide intercom. Listen up, everyone. In 30 seconds, we're going to do something that goes against every rule of space safety. When I give the signal, I want everyone to brace for impact and trust me. She looked at Tom. When I say now, cut all power to engines and attitude control. Let us drift, Captain. That's crazy, I know. Do it anyway. The seconds ticked by with agonizing slowness. The alien ships closed in, confident in their prey's helplessness. Sarah watched the lead vessel position itself directly above them, its weapons charging for what they probably thought would be the killing blow. Now, Tom shut down the engines. The Resilience immediately began tumbling through space, spinning end over end like a child's toy. To the aliens, it must have looked like a catastrophic system failure. The lead alien ship moved in closer, probably preparing boarding parties. It was exactly what Sarah had hoped for. Marcus, deploy charges 1 through 6. Scatter pattern around our hull. Charges away, Captain. The mining explosives drifted away from the ship, nearly invisible against the backdrop of asteroids. To the aliens, they would look like debris from the damaged vessel. The alien ship positioned itself 20 meters above them, close enough for boarding tubes. Sarah could see movement through its transparent sections. Insectoid figures preparing equipment. Dr. Foster, power up the deep-bore resonators. Target the ship directly above us. But Captain, at this range, the feedback could damage our own systems. Better than being captured. Do it. The resonators hummed to life, sending vibrations through the Resilience's hull. Sarah felt her teeth ache from the frequency. On the alien ship, she saw sudden frantic activity as crew members rushed between stations. It's working, Dr. Foster called out. Their hull is developing stress fractures. But the aliens weren't helpless. The ship above them opened fire, not with its main weapons, but with smaller defensive turrets. Energy beams lanced down, striking the Resilience's hull. One beam punched through the bridge viewport, missing Sarah's head by inches. Emergency force field snapped into place, but the bridge was now exposed to space. Emergency suits, everyone, Sarah shouted, grabbing her helmet. As the crew struggled into their protective gear, the alien ship continued its descent. Sarah could see boarding tubes extending from its lower hull, seeking to attach to their airlocks. Marcus, detonate charges 1 through 6. Now the mining explosives erupted in a coordinated blast. The shaped charges weren't designed for space combat, but they didn't need to be. The explosions sent chunks of asteroid debris flying at incredible velocities, turning the space around the ships into a storm of deadly projectiles. The alien vessel's shields flared as rock fragments hammered its hull. But more importantly, the resonator frequency, combined with the shock waves from the explosions, created exactly the harmonic vibration Dr. Foster had predicted. The alien ship's hull cracked. It started as a thin line running along the vessel's spine, then spread like a spider web. The biometallic compound that made their ship so strong became their weakness as the resonance frequency tore through the molecular bonds with a sound like breaking glass that somehow carried through the vacuum. The alien ship split apart. Atmosphere vented into space as the two halves tumbled away, their crew lost to the void. 1 down, Morrison's voice carried grim satisfaction. 2 to go. But the remaining alien ships had learned from their companions' fate. They pulled back, no longer treating the humans as helpless prey. Sarah watched them regroup, their formation shifting to a more aggressive posture. Captain, Lisa called out from her damaged console. I'm picking up transmissions between the alien ships. The translator is having trouble, but I think they're calling for reinforcements. Sarah felt her heart sink. They'd won one battle, but the war was just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness of space, more alien ships were coming. All hands, damage report. How much fight do we have left? The answers came back one by one. Hull breaches sealed, but atmosphere low. Weapons functional, but limited ammunition. Engines damaged, but operational. Most importantly, crew alive and determined. Sarah looked out at the 2 remaining alien ships as they began their next attack run. Her crew had proven they could hurt these creatures. Now they needed to prove they could win. Load the remaining mining charges, she ordered, and prepare for round 2. The 2 remaining alien ships approached with calculated caution, having learned from their companions' explosive death. Sarah watched them through the emergency force field that now served as the bridge's only protection against space. Her breath fogged her helmet visor as the ship's life support struggled to maintain atmosphere in the damaged sections. "They're staying back," Tom observed, his voice crackling through the comm system. "Keeping at least 500 meters distance." Sarah nodded grimly. The aliens had adapted quickly to human tactics. They were no longer the overconfident predators who had first attacked. Now they were careful, methodical, and deadly. "Marcus, what's our status on those remaining charges?" 6 charges left, Captain. But without the element of surprise, they won't be as effective. These things are built for controlled demolitions, not space combat. Then we make our own surprises. Sarah studied the tactical display, her mind working through possibilities. The asteroid field around them was dense, full of floating rocks ranging from pebbles to mountain-sized chunks. "Dr. Foster, I need to know more about these asteroids. Composition, density, structural weak points." "Already on it, Captain. Most of them are standard iron-nickel composition, but there's something interesting about Cluster 7. Dr. Foster's voice carried excitement despite their desperate situation. "High concentrations of crystalline structures. If we could destabilize them with the right frequency, we could turn them into natural fragmentation weapons," Sarah finished. "How big an explosion are we talking about?" "Depends on the size of the asteroid. The larger ones could fragment with enough force to damage ships at considerable range." Chief Morrison's voice cut through the discussion. "Captain, enemy ships are moving. They're splitting up, trying to flank us." Sarah watched the tactical display as the 2 alien vessels separated, one moving high into port, the other diving low to starboard. Classic pincer movement. They planned to attack from multiple angles, making it impossible for the Resilience to defend against both simultaneously. "Tom, put us in the shadow of that big asteroid at bearing 090. Use the rocks as cover." The damaged ship limped deeper into the asteroid field, dodging between floating mountains of stone and ice. Behind them, the alien ships followed like hunting wolves, patient but relentless. "Lisa, anything on those reinforcements they called for?" Communications Officer Park shook her head, water droplets from her breathing floating in the zero gravity of her damaged station. "Nothing yet, Captain. But at light speed, messages to their fleet could have reached ships anywhere in this system." Sarah felt the weight of time pressing down on her. Every minute they spent fighting these 2 ships brought the possibility of more enemies arriving. They needed to end this quickly. "All hands prepare for emergency maneuvers. We're going to use the big rock at our 2 o'clock as a weapon." "Captain," Tom's voice carried confusion. "Dr. Foster, that crystalline asteroid you mentioned, how close do we need to get to destabilize it?" "Within 100 meters of the surface." "But Captain, the resonators aren't designed for that kind of precision work while moving." "Then we're not moving. Marcus, I need you to rig our remaining charges for maximum dispersal. Forget controlled explosions, I want chaos." Chief Engineer Webb's voice carried doubt. "Captain, that goes against every safety protocol in the book." "The book didn't account for alien hunters." Sarah's voice hardened. "Do it." The Resilience settled into the shadow of the massive asteroid, using its bulk to shield them from direct attack. But Sarah knew it was only temporary cover. The aliens would circle around or worse, simply blast through the rock to get to them. "Movement on scope," Morrison called out. "Both alien ships are repositioning. They're coming around the asteroid from opposite directions." "Perfect." Sarah's lips curved in a predatory smile that her crew couldn't see behind her helmet visor. "Tom, on my mark, I want full emergency burn directly at the asteroid surface." "Crash course, Captain, that's suicide if we hit it, I know. Trust me." The alien ships emerged from behind the asteroid's bulk, their weapons already charging. Sarah could see them clearly now through the force field, sleek predators moving with mechanical precision. Their hulls gleamed with an oily sheen that seemed to absorb starlight. "Dr. Foster, power up those resonators. Full intensity, powering up now." "But Captain, at this range and power level, we could damage our own hull structure." "Better than letting them take us alive. All hands brace for impact." The resonators hummed to life, sending deep vibrations through the ship's structure. Sarah felt the frequency in her bones, a thrumming that seemed to sync with her heartbeat. The massive asteroid ahead of them began to glow faintly as its crystalline structures resonated with the energy waves. "Now, Tom, full burn." The Resilience shot forward like a bullet, her damaged engines screaming as they pushed beyond safe limits. The asteroid's surface rushed toward them at terrifying speed, growing from a distant mountain to a world-filling wall of stone and ice. Behind them, the two alien ships accelerated in pursuit, their weapons firing. Energy beams lanced past the Resilience, some striking the asteroid and sending up geysers of superheated rock. 50 meters to impact, Tom called out, his voice tight with concentration. 40 meters. 30. Sarah watched the asteroid's surface fill their viewport, every crater and ridge visible in perfect detail. This was the moment of truth. Either her plan would work or they would all die in the next few seconds. Marcus, detonate all remaining charges. Maximum dispersal. The mining charges exploded in a chaotic pattern around the ship, their force directed not at any target but simply to create as much disruption as possible. The blast wave struck the asteroid's surface just as the resonators reached peak frequency. The effect was spectacular. The crystalline structures within the asteroid vibrated at their resonant frequency, building up energy until they reached their breaking point. In an instant, the entire mountain of rock and ice exploded outward in a sphere of deadly fragments. Emergency reverse thrust, Sarah shouted. Tom was already acting, firing every thruster the ship had in reverse. The Resilience slowed her suicidal plunge just as the asteroid exploded around them. Chunks of rock ranging from pebbles to car-sized boulders flew past their hull, some striking with enough force to dent the armor, plating. But the real target wasn't the Resilience, it was the two alien ships that had been following too closely. The expanding sphere of debris struck both vessels simultaneously. Their shields flared brilliantly as they tried to deflect the incoming storm of rock and ice, but there was too much coming too fast from too many directions. Sarah watched through the force field as one alien ship's shields overloaded. A massive chunk of asteroid slammed into its port side, crumpling the biometallic hull like paper. The ship spun out of control, venting atmosphere and trailing debris. The second ship fared better initially, its shields holding against the smaller fragments. But the pilot made a fatal error. Instead of retreating, it tried to push through the debris field to continue its attack. A house-sized chunk of crystalline rock struck the ship's nose section. The biometallic hull cracked along the same resonant stress lines that had doomed the first vessel. This time the ship didn't split cleanly in half, it simply crumpled, its elegant curves collapsing into twisted metal and organic matter. Both targets down, Morrison reported, his voice filled with amazement. I can't believe that worked. Sarah slumped back in her command chair, adrenaline leaving her system. They had done the impossible. A civilian cargo ship had defeated 3 military vessels with nothing but mining equipment and human ingenuity. But her relief was short-lived. Captain, Lisa's voice cut through the celebration. I'm detecting new contacts on long-range sensors. Multiple ships incoming fast. Sarah's heart sank as she saw the tactical display. Not 2 or 3 ships this time, dozens. The aliens had indeed called for reinforcements and now their entire fleet was coming. Time to arrival? 47 minutes at current speed. Sarah looked around at her battered crew and damaged ship. They had proven they could fight these creatures. They had shown that humans wouldn't go quietly into the night, but against an entire fleet. All hands damage assessment. I want to know everything that's broken and everything that's not. We've got 47 minutes to figure out how to do the impossible one more time. As her crew began their reports, Sarah stared out at the debris field that marked their victory. Somewhere in that expanding cloud of rock and twisted metal lay the remains of 3 alien ships. But more were coming, many more. The real battle was about to begin. The damage reports came in like a medical examiner's findings on a corpse. Hull breaches in 12 sections, life support failing in the aft compartments, main engines running at 30% capacity, and weapons systems down to emergency power only. The Resilience was dying by degrees, and 43 minutes remained before the alien fleet arrived. Captain, Dr. Foster's voice crackled through the comm system from her lab. I've been analyzing the debris from the destroyed alien ships. There's something you need to know. Go ahead, Doctor. Their technology is partially biological. The hull fragments I've recovered show clear signs of organic neural pathways integrated with the metal structure. I think their ships are alive. Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the failing life support. What does that mean for us? It means they're not just ships, they're creatures. And creatures can feel pain. When we destroyed those vessels, we didn't just blow up machines. We killed living beings. Chief Morrison's voice cut through the discussion. Captain, with respect, they started this fight. They came hunting us, agreed, Sarah replied. But Dr. Foster's information might give us an advantage. If their ships are biological, they might have biological weaknesses. That's what I was thinking, Dr. Foster continued. I've found traces of what looks like a nervous system in the hull fragments. If we could disrupt their neural functions, we could blind them or confuse them, Sarah finished. Do we have anything that could generate that kind of interference? Marcus's voice came from engineering. Captain, the medical bay has neural stimulation equipment. Dr. Kim uses it for treating concussion patients. If we could amplify the signal, do it. Dr. Kim, work with Marcus to modify your equipment. I want something that can scramble alien neural pathways. Understood, Captain, but I'll need to know more about their biology. Sarah turned to the communication station. Lisa, are you picking up any alien transmissions? If their ships are biological, they might communicate differently than we thought. Now that you mention it, yes. I've been detecting low-frequency pulses between the incoming ships. Very faint, almost organic sounding, like whale songs but in space. Can you isolate and analyze those signals? Working on it now, Captain. As her crew worked frantically to prepare for the impossible battle ahead, Sarah studied the tactical display. The incoming alien fleet was massive, 47 ships of various sizes from small fighters to massive vessels that dwarfed the Resilience. They were spread out in a search formation, hunting through the asteroid field. Tom, plot me an escape course. Assume we somehow survive the next hour, where could we go? Navigator Rodriguez shook his head grimly. Nowhere, Captain. They're coming from all directions and our jump drive is still offline. Even if we could repair it, we'd need at least an hour of uninterrupted work. Then we don't run. We make our stand here. Captain, Chief Morrison interrupted. I've been thinking about our ammunition situation. We're out of mining charges, but we still have the emergency plasma cutters and the cargo bay is full of industrial equipment. What kind of equipment? Prefabricated habitat modules, atmospheric processors, and about 1,000 tons of refined metals intended for the mining colonies. Sarah's eyes lit up. Morrison, you beautiful genius. Can we turn any of that into weapons? The atmospheric processors use controlled fusion reactions. If we could overload them, fusion bombs, not subtle but effective. Sarah keyed the shipwide comm. All hands, we're about to attempt something that will either save us or vaporize us. Possibly both. Everyone not essential to the current modifications should evacuate to the forward sections. Captain, Dr. Foster's voice carried urgency. I've found something else in the alien debris. Traces of a quantum entanglement network. I think all their ships are connected through some kind of biological internet. Sarah felt pieces clicking together in her mind. A hive mind? More like a shared nervous system. When one ship learns something, they all learn it instantly. That's why they adapted so quickly to our tactics. But it also means they all share weaknesses, Lisa added excitedly. Captain, I've cracked part of their communication protocol. They're using bioelectric pulses transmitted through quantum-entangled neurons. If we could inject false signals into their network, we could confuse their entire fleet, Sarah finished. How long do you need? Give me 20 minutes and whatever power Marcus can spare. You've got it. Marcus, divert power from everything non-essential. Life support, artificial gravity, everything. The ship's gravity generators wound down, leaving the crew floating in 0G. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows through the corridors as power was rerouted to the modified medical equipment and communications arrays. Incoming transmission, Lisa announced. It's from the alien fleet. Let's hear it. The bridge speakers crackled to life, filled with the same clicking, chittering language they'd heard before. But this time, the universal translator seemed to work better. Human vessel, you have committed an act of unprecedented violence against our kind. 3 of our ships are dead. This transgression demands punishment beyond simple capture. Sarah grabbed a handhold and floated closer to the comm station. Open a channel. Channel open, Captain. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the cargo ship Resilience. You attacked us without provocation. We defended ourselves according to basic universal law. If you want to call that unprecedented violence, I suggest you reconsider who started this fight. Silence stretched across space for several seconds. Then the alien voice returned, colder than before. Your species shows potential for useful aggression, but you have proven too dangerous to be allowed freedom. You will surrender now for processing and genetic analysis. Your refusal will result in the sterilization of all human colonies within 3 sectors. Sarah felt her blood turn to ice. They weren't just hunting her crew. They were threatening every human settlement in this region of space. Thousands of innocent people. They're bluffing, Morrison said quietly. Maybe. But can we take that chance? Sarah stared at the tactical display showing the approaching fleet. Open the channel again. Channel open. Unknown alien commander, this is my counteroffer. Turn your ships around and leave human space immediately. Any attack on human settlements will be met with total retaliation from the Colonial Defense Force. Your military is insignificant. We have studied your capabilities through captured vessels. You cannot threaten us, Sarah smiled grimly. You studied our capabilities, but you didn't study our character. We don't surrender. We don't break. And we never ever give up. She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. Status reports. Are we ready to show these things what humans are really capable of? Neural disruptor is online, Dr. Kim reported. Ready to transmit. Communication virus is loaded, Lisa added. One transmission into their network should spread to every ship. Fusion charges are ready, Morrison called out. 12 atmospheric processors rigged to overload on your command. Jump drive is still offline, Marcus reported. But I've managed to restore main engines to 60% capacity. Sarah looked around at her floating crew, battered and exhausted but still fighting. They had jury-rigged weapons from mining equipment, turned medical devices into neural warfare tools, and prepared to take on impossible odds with nothing but human ingenuity and absolute refusal to surrender. Incoming ships at 15 minutes, Tom announced. Then let's get ready to give them the warmest welcome in human history, Sarah replied. All stations prepare for engagement. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. Every human colony is counting on us to show these aliens that humans are more trouble than we're worth. She strapped herself into the command chair and watched the approaching fleet. 47 ships against one damaged cargo hauler. By any logical calculation, it should be a massacre. The aliens were about to discover that humans didn't follow logical calculations. They followed their hearts. And sometimes that was enough to change the universe. The alien fleet emerged from the darkness like a constellation of death. 47 ships of varying sizes spread across space in a perfect hunting formation, their biometallic hulls gleaming with that same light-absorbing quality that made them appear to devour the stars themselves. At the center of the formation, a massive vessel 3 times the size of the Resilience pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Clearly the command ship. They're taking their time, Tom observed, watching the tactical display. Scanning every asteroid, every debris field. They're being careful, Sarah replied. We hurt them and they know it. They won't underestimate humans again. The lead elements of the alien fleet began entering the asteroid field where the Resilience lay hidden. The smaller scout ships moved like metallic fish through the rocky maze, their sensors probing every shadow, every crevice where a ship might hide. Captain, Lisa whispered from her communication station. I'm reading massive data exchanges between their ships. They're sharing everything. Sensor readings, tactical assessments, even emotional responses if my translations are correct. Are you ready with the virus? Standing by. But Captain, once I transmit, they'll know exactly where we are. Understood, Dr. Kim. Status on the neural disruptor? Ready, Captain. But I have no idea what it will do to their biology. This could cause anything from confusion to complete system shutdown. Sarah nodded grimly. They were about to find out. Morrison, are your fusion charges ready? 12 atmospheric processors rigged to overload, spread throughout the debris field where we destroyed their first ships. Remote detonators are active. Tom, I need an escape route plotted. Assume we survive the first exchange. Already done, Captain. There's a gap in their formation at bearing 17 Mark 8. If we can break through, we'll worry about that after we see if any of us are still breathing in the next few minutes. The alien ships continued their methodical search. Sarah watched as one scout vessel moved directly over their position, its sensors washing across the asteroid they were hiding behind. For a moment, she held her breath, waiting for the inevitable detection alarm. But the ship moved on, apparently satisfied that the large rock was nothing more than space debris. They're looking for a ship, Sarah realized. They expect us to be hiding like a ship would hide. But we're not acting like a ship anymore. She had positioned the Resilience flat against the asteroid's surface, using magnetic clamps to hold them in place. From a distance, they looked like just another piece of debris from the earlier explosions. Movement on the main formation, Tom reported. The command ship is advancing. The massive alien vessel approached with the confidence of an apex predator. Sarah could see details of its construction now. Organic curves blended seamlessly with metallic edges, pulsing veins of bioluminescence running along its hull like a circulatory system. Weapon ports opened and closed like breathing mouths, and she swore she could see actual eyes embedded in the hull structure. My God, Dr. Foster breathed. It's not just biological technology. That thing is alive. Fully alive. How alive? Sarah asked. Brain activity, circulatory systems, nervous responses. Captain, I think we're looking at a spaceborne creature that's been bred or modified for warfare. It's not a ship with biological components. It's a living weapon. The implications hit Sarah immediately. Then killing it wouldn't be destroying a machine. It would be murder. Captain, Chief Morrison's voice carried urgency. Movement all around us. They're tightening the search pattern. Sarah watched the tactical display as the alien ships closed in from all directions. They had perhaps 30 seconds before discovery was inevitable. Lisa, transmit the virus now. Transmitting. Communications Officer Park's fingers danced across her console, sending their carefully crafted signal into the alien communication network. The bioelectric virus was designed to propagate through the quantum-entangled neural system, carrying false information and confusing commands. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The nearest alien ship suddenly veered off course, its pilot apparently receiving conflicting navigation data. Another ship began firing at empty space, its weapon systems apparently detecting phantom targets. Throughout the fleet, ships began behaving erratically as the virus spread through their shared consciousness. It's working, Lisa called out excitedly. Their communication network is in chaos. But the celebration was short-lived. The massive command ship pulsed with angry red light, and suddenly the confusion among the fleet began to subside. Whatever intelligence controlled that creature was powerful enough to overcome the virus and restore order to the neural network. Captain, Dr. Kim announced, I'm detecting massive neural activity from the command ship. It's purging the virus from the network. Then we hit them with everything else. Tom, break us free from this asteroid. Morrison, detonate the fusion charges. Dr. Kim, activate the neural disruptor at maximum power. The Resilience separated from its hiding place just as 12 atmospheric processors scattered throughout the debris field began their catastrophic overloads. The fusion reactions that normally provided breathable atmosphere for mining colonies instead became miniature stars, each one releasing enough energy to vaporize a city block. The alien ships caught within the blast radius didn't stand a chance. Their biometallic hulls, so elegant and efficient in normal space combat, became their weakness as the fusion fires washed over them. The living metal screamed a moan, as it was consumed by nuclear fire. 6 alien ships died in the first wave of explosions, their death cries carrying across space in frequencies that made the human crew's bones ache with sympathetic pain. Neural disruptor at full power, Dr. Kim announced. The modified medical equipment sent out waves of neural interference designed to disrupt biological nervous systems. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate and horrifying. Ships began flying in random patterns, their living pilots apparently unable to coordinate their movements. Some craft collided with asteroids, while others fired weapons wildly in all directions. But the command ship remained unaffected, its massive bulk pulsing with even brighter light as it concentrated on maintaining control of its fleet. It's shielding them, Dr. Foster observed. That thing is acting like a central nervous system, filtering our interference and sending clean signals to the other ships. Then we take out the brain, Sarah decided. Tom, set course for the command ship. Maximum velocity. Captain, that's a suicide run. We can't possibly damage something that large. Maybe not, but we can get close enough to use our secret weapon. What secret weapon? Sarah smiled grimly. Human stubbornness. The Resilience accelerated toward the massive alien creature, her damaged engines screaming as they pushed beyond safe limits. Behind them, the surviving alien ships recovered from the neural assault and began pursuit, their weapons charging for what they clearly intended to be the killing blow. Incoming fire, Morrison called out. Energy beams lanced past the cargo ship, some striking the asteroids around them and turning solid rock into clouds of superheated plasma. The alien weapons were devastating, but their targeting was still affected by the neural interference. Distance to target? Sarah asked. 5 kilometers and closing, Tom replied. But Captain, at this speed will impact in 30 seconds. Even if we reverse thrust now, we're not reversing thrust. Lisa, open a channel to the command ship. Channel open, Captain, Sarah took a deep breath. What she was about to do went against every instinct of self-preservation, every rule of engagement, every principle of military tactics. But sometimes the only way to win was to change the rules entirely. Alien command ship. This is Captain Sarah Chen. I'm coming to speak with you face to face. The alien voice that answered was different from the others. Deeper. More complex, carrying harmonics that suggested vast intelligence and ancient age. Human captain, you cannot survive contact with our vessel. Your fragile biology will be consumed by our defense systems. Maybe. But I'm betting you're curious enough about us to let me try. A pause. Then, you would sacrifice yourself and your crew to deliver a message? I would sacrifice myself and my crew to protect every other human in this sector. That's what humans do. We protect each other even from things we don't understand. Another pause, longer this time. Approach. We will receive you. But know that this act of mercy may be the last kindness our species shows to yours. Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew. Tom's hands were steady on the controls despite their impossible situation. Lisa monitored communications while tears ran down her cheeks. Dr. Foster clutched her geological samples like precious children. Chief Morrison checked his weapon one final time, ready to fight even against impossible odds. These people had followed her into hell, and now she was about to ask them to walk through the fire itself. All hands, she announced over the ship-wide comm. We're going aboard the alien command ship. I don't know what we'll find there, and I don't know if we'll survive. But I know this. We've shown these creatures that humans don't break easily. Now let's show them what we're really made of. The massive alien ship. The docking bay of the alien command ship was unlike anything Sarah had ever seen. The walls pulsed with organic ridges that reminded her of the inside of a massive heart, and bioluminescent veins provided an eerie blue-green light that made shadows dance like living things. The air itself felt thick and humid, carrying scents of ozone and something else, something alive and ancient. Atmosphere is breathable, Dr. Kim reported through their comm units, though his voice carried obvious discomfort. High humidity, elevated CO2 levels, but within acceptable ranges for short-term exposure. Life signs? Sarah asked as the crew of the Resilience gathered in the alien docking bay. Massive, Dr. Foster whispered, her sensor readings making her eyes widen. Captain, this entire ship is one enormous organism. We're not inside a vessel. We're inside a creature. The docking bay sealed itself with sphincter-like doors that moved with disturbingly organic motions. Sarah felt a moment of claustrophobia, knowing they were now trapped inside what was essentially the belly of a spaceborne beast. Movement ahead, Chief Morrison announced, raising his pulse rifle despite knowing how useless it would be here. From the organic corridors emerged a group of the insectoid aliens they had seen before, but these were different. Larger, more elaborate, with additional limbs and sensory organs that suggested higher rank or evolution. Their multifaceted eyes reflected the bioluminescent light like mirrors, making it impossible to read their expressions. The lead alien spoke, and this time the universal translator worked perfectly. I am Warsinger Velethan, commander of the hunting fleet. You are Captain Chen of the human vessel. Your species has proven unexpected. Sarah stepped forward, fighting every instinct that told her to run. Warsinger Velethan, we need to talk. Indeed. Follow. The aliens led them through corridors that felt more like arteries than hallways. The walls occasionally contracted and expanded as if breathing, and Sarah could see fluids flowing through transparent tubes embedded in the organic structure. It was beautiful in an alien way, but deeply unsettling for humans accustomed to metal and plastic starships. Captain, Tom whispered through their private comm channel. The way back to our ship is being sealed. Those door things are closing behind us. Sarah nodded slightly. She had expected as much. This was either going to be a negotiation or an execution, and there would be no middle ground. They entered what could only be described as a cathedral of flesh and metal. The chamber rose hundreds of meters above their heads, its walls lined with what looked like neural interfaces where dozens of alien crew members stood connected to the ship's biological systems. At the center of the space, on a raised platform surrounded by pulsing organic cables, stood the largest alien Sarah had ever seen. Warsinger Velethan was easily 3 meters tall, with additional limbs that suggested both grace and terrible strength. But what struck Sarah most was the intelligence in its eyes, ancient, calculating, and utterly alien. "Approach," the war singer commanded. Sarah walked forward alone, leaving her crew behind under the watchful gaze of the alien guards. As she drew closer to the command platform, she could see that Valethan was directly connected to the ship through numerous biomechanical cables that pulsed with the same rhythms as a heartbeat. "You have cost us 6 ships," Valethan stated without preamble. 6 living vessels, each one a century in the growing, each one containing the genetic memories of our species. Their deaths cause pain throughout our collective consciousness. "You attacked us without provocation," Sarah replied, meeting the alien's gaze despite the intimidation factor. "We defended ourselves according to universal law." "Universal law?" Valethan's voice carried what might have been amusement. "Human, there is no universal law except survival and adaptation. We hunt because hunting makes us strong. We take what we need because need justifies action. Then you won't object to humans doing the same thing." The war singer was silent for a moment, considering. "Explain." Sarah took a deep breath, knowing that everything depended on her next words. "You hunt other species to test your strength and gather resources. But humans have something you haven't encountered before. We get stronger when we're threatened. Every attack on our people makes us more determined, more creative, more dangerous. You are one small species on the edge of known space. Your technology is primitive, your numbers limited. Today, yes, but we learn fast and we never forget an enemy." Sarah gestured toward her crew. "Look at what 12 humans with mining equipment did to your hunting fleet. Now imagine what millions of humans with real weapons could do." Valethan's eyes seemed to focus more intently. "You speak of war between our species. I speak of consequences. You want to hunt humans for sport and resources. Fine. But understand that every human you take will teach 1,000 others about your weaknesses. Every colony you destroy will turn 1,000,000 humans into your sworn enemies. You think you're apex predators, but you've never faced a species that makes war an art form. Your military forces are insignificant compared to our fleets." Sarah smiled grimly. "Our current military forces, maybe. But you're thinking like a predator, not like prey. When humans become prey, we don't just run or hide. We adapt, we innovate, we become something new." She gestured toward Dr. Foster. "In one day, my geologist figured out how to turn your hull composition against you. Imagine what our weapons designers could do with a year." She pointed to Lisa. "My communications officer cracked your bioneural network in 20 minutes. Imagine what our cyber warfare specialist could accomplish with real resources." She indicated Chief Morrison. "My security chief turned atmospheric processors into fusion bombs. Imagine what our military engineers could create if they were actually trying to kill you." War singer Valethan was silent for a long moment, its alien features unreadable. Around the chamber, Sarah could see other aliens connected to the neural interfaces, their bodies twitching as if they were experiencing shared thoughts or emotions. "You offer a choice," Valethan finally said. "Submit to hunting or face total war." "I offer information," Sarah corrected. "Humans don't submit and we don't break. We fight until we win or until we're extinct. There is no middle ground. And yet you came here alone with a handful of crew members into the heart of our strongest vessel. This does not suggest overwhelming confidence in your species' military capabilities." Sarah felt her crew tense behind her, but she kept her voice steady. "I came here because someone had to explain the math to you. You can hunt individual human ships, maybe even destroy some colonies, but every action you take against us will teach more humans how to kill your kind. Eventually we'll learn enough to hunt you. You assume your species will survive long enough to mount such resistance? We're like a virus, war singer. We spread, we adapt, and we're really hard to kill completely. Even if you wiped out 90% of humanity, the survivors would spend their entire lives figuring out how to make you pay for it." Valethan moved to one of the neural interfaces, connecting additional cables to its body. Sarah watched as the alien's eyes rolled back, clearly accessing the ship's vast data networks. "We have studied your history through captured vessels," Valethan said after several minutes. "Your species has indeed shown remarkable resilience and adaptability. You have survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, global wars, and biological plagues. Each crisis made you stronger." "Exactly. So you have a choice. You can leave human space and find other hunting grounds, or you can start a war that will teach millions of humans to be very good at killing creatures like you." "And if we choose to leave, you will not pursue us?" Sarah hesitated. This was the crucial moment, the decision that would determine whether humanity remained prey or became predator. We'll leave you alone if you leave us alone, she said carefully. But if any human colonies are attacked after today, if any human ships disappear in this sector, we'll assume it was you. And we'll come looking. Warsinger Valethan disconnected from the neural interface and studied Sarah with those alien eyes. You negotiate from a position of weakness as if you held strength. I negotiate from a position of truth. We're weak now, but we won't stay that way. The question is whether you want to find out how dangerous we can become. The chamber fell silent except for the organic sounds of the living ship around them. Sarah could feel her crew's tension, could sense the alien guards ready to act at any moment. Everything hung in the balance. Finally, Valethan spoke. Your species is indeed unexpected. We will consider your words. It wasn't an answer, but it wasn't a death sentence either. Sarah realized they had accomplished something remarkable. They had made apex predators hesitate. But the real test would come next. Would the aliens choose wisdom, or would humanity face its first interstellar war? Warsinger Valethan remained motionless for what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, connected to multiple neural interfaces as it communed with the vast intelligence of the living ship. Sarah could see data flowing through the bioluminescent channels in the walls, carrying their conversation to whatever collective consciousness controlled the alien fleet. Captain, Chief Morrison whispered through their private comm. Movement outside the ship. The other vessels are repositioning. Sarah nodded slightly, keeping her eyes on the alien commander. The next few moments would determine whether humanity had gained a reprieve or simply delayed the inevitable slaughter. Finally, Valethan disconnected from the neural network and faced Sarah directly. Its multifaceted eyes seemed to hold depths of ancient knowledge and calculation. The collective has reached a consensus, the Warsinger announced. Your species presents an unacceptable risk-to-reward ratio for continued hunting operations in this sector. Sarah felt her heart jump but forced herself to remain calm. Meaning? Meaning that the potential long-term costs of provoking humanity into developing effective countermeasures outweigh the short-term benefits of harvesting your people and resources. Dr. Foster stepped forward. You're leaving human space? We are, postponing operations in this region. Your species will be monitored for technological development and military capabilities. Should you expand beyond your current boundaries, or develop weapons that threaten other hunting zones, this assessment will be reconsidered. Sarah felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. They had won, but the victory came with conditions. And the data you've already stolen? Navigation charts, colony locations, trade routes? Will be archived, not shared with other hunting fleets, not acted upon by our forces. Consider it a gesture of professional respect. Professional respect? Tom asked incredulously. Warsinger Valethan's attention shifted to the navigator. Your species has demonstrated tactical innovation and absolute refusal to submit even in the face of certain destruction. These are qualities we value in potential prey. The fact that you possess them makes you unsuitable as prey. The logic was alien but clear. Humanity had saved itself by being too dangerous to hunt safely. There is one additional matter, Valethan continued. The 3 ships your vessel destroyed, their bio-neural cores contained memories and genetic information representing centuries of our people's development. This loss requires compensation. Sarah tensed, wondering if they were about to discover the price of their freedom. What kind of compensation? Information. Your tactical innovations, your improvised weapon systems, your psychological profile under extreme stress. This data will be valuable for understanding how other species might adapt to our hunting methods. You want us to teach you how to better hunt other people? Morrison's voice carried disgust. We want to understand what we faced here, Valethan replied calmly. Your species' reaction to our hunting tactics was unprecedented. If other species develop similar capabilities, we must be prepared. Sarah considered the request. On one hand, providing information about human tactics could help the aliens hunt other species more effectively. On the other hand, refusing might restart hostilities. I'll give you our technical specifications and tactical reports, she said carefully. But not our psychological profiles or detailed information about human colonies. Acceptable. Warsinger Valethan gestured, and one of the smaller aliens approached with what looked like a biomechanical data storage device. Sarah handed over her ship's technical logs and tactical recordings, keeping the personal information and colony data secure. "There is one final matter to address," Valethan said as the data transfer completed. "Other hunting fleets operate in this region of space. Our decision to avoid human prey may not extend to them." "Other fleets?" Dr. Foster asked. "The void hunters, the neural parasites, the crystalline swarm. Each species has its own hunting grounds and preferences. Some may see your demonstrated resistance as a challenge rather than a deterrent." Sarah felt her relief evaporating. "Are you warning us about other threats? I am providing information that may prove useful for mutual survival. Your species has shown it can destroy ships like ours, but other hunters use different methods, some that your current countermeasures may not address. Why are you telling us this?" Warsinger Valethan was silent for a moment, considering. Because in a universe full of prey species, it is refreshing to encounter one that refuses to be prey. Your continued survival may prove beneficial to the galactic ecosystem. The alien commander moved toward one of the chamber's exits, clearly indicating the meeting was over. "Your vessel will be returned to you undamaged. You have 4 hours to depart this system before our fleet resumes normal operations. And if we encounter your people again, if you remain within your current territorial boundaries and do not threaten our operations elsewhere, there will be no conflict." "But Captain Chen," Valethan paused at the doorway, "do not mistake this decision for weakness. We are leaving because hunting you would be more trouble than benefit, should that calculation change." "Understood," Sarah replied. "And Warsinger, if any human colonies are attacked by forces using your technology or tactics, we'll hold you responsible." The alien's compound eyes seemed to glitter with what might have been amusement. "Your species truly does not understand when it is outmatched." "No, we don't. We consider that a feature, not a bug." "Indeed. Safe travels, Captain Chen. I suspect we will be watching your species' development with great interest." The journey back to the Resilience was conducted in silence, with alien guards escorting the human crew through the organic corridors. Sarah's mind raced as she processed everything that had happened. They had survived, but humanity was now on notice that the galaxy contained predators beyond their current ability to fight. Back aboard their ship, the crew worked frantically to make repairs for departure. The 4-hour deadline left little time for anything beyond basic life support and engine function. "Captain," Lisa called from her rebuilt communication station, "I'm detecting quantum transmission bursts from the alien fleet. They're sending detailed reports to other locations." "About us?" "About everything that happened here. Ship specifications, tactical capabilities, psychological assessments. Captain, I think word about humanity is going to spread throughout whatever galactic community these hunters belong to." Sarah nodded grimly. They had gained breathing room, but at the cost of anonymity. Humanity was no longer an unknown species quietly expanding through space. They were now marked as something to be watched. "Marcus, engine status?" "Jump drive is online, Captain. We can make the transit to Alpha Centauri Station, but we'll need major repairs before attempting anything more ambitious." "Tom, plot our course home. Lisa, prepare a full report for Colonial Command. They need to know what's coming." As the Resilience limped away from the asteroid field, Sarah watched the alien fleet disperse through the bridge viewport. Some ships departed immediately, vanishing into jump space with casual ease. Others remained to scan the battlefield, collecting debris and data. Warsinger Valethan's command ship was the last to leave, its massive bulk drifting past them like a living mountain. For a moment, Sarah thought she saw lights pulsing in what might have been a farewell pattern. "Captain," Dr. Foster said quietly, "do you think we did the right thing?" Sarah considered the question. They had saved themselves and potentially thousands of human colonists, but they had also announced humanity's presence to a galaxy full of predators, and taught one group of aliens how to better hunt other species. "I think we did the only thing we could," she replied. "We protected our own, and bought time for humanity to prepare for what's coming." "And what is coming?" Sarah looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere in that vast darkness other hunting fleets were learning about a species that refused to be prey. War, she said simply. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. The galaxy just learned that humans don't break when threatened. We adapt. Some species will see that as a reason to leave us alone. And others? Others will see it as a challenge. The Resilience entered jump space, carrying her crew home to warn humanity about the universe they really lived in. Behind them, the alien hunters dispersed to spread word of a new variable in the galactic equation. Humanity was no longer alone in the cosmos, and the cosmos was no longer safe for anyone. But as Sarah settled back in her command chair for the journey home, she felt a fierce pride in her species. They had faced the unknown and refused to surrender. They had looked apex predators in the eye and made them blink first. Whatever came next, humanity would face it the same way they had faced every challenge in their history, together, stubborn, and absolutely refusing to give up. In the depths of space, that might just be enough.